Hello everybody, my name is Martin and I'm the CEO of Xbrane. First of all, I want to introduce with some concepts that I'm going to talk more about, that we need to be clear about. Pharmaceutical industry is typically divided into two segments. First, traditional small molecule pharmaceuticals, which are produced chemically, and then biological drugs. And these are much larger molecules and they are produced in a biological system. That is to say, we have to introduce a DNA string into a living cell that instructs it to produce the protein that we're interested in. So traditional pharmaceutical industry, small molecules and biologics. Now, as you probably know, these products are typically protected by patents. And when the patent expires of a small molecule pharmaceutical, generics can come to market, okay? And since they are rather simple in their structure, you can prove that you have a complete identical product. And it's rather easy these days to produce a generic, and therefore quite a few generic products come to market typically as the patent expires. 10 or so is quite common, and the prices drop typically 90% from the price the day before patent expiration. Now, of course, there needs to be a similar thing when it comes to biological drugs, because they're also patent protected. Now, that is called biosimilars, because since these biological drugs are so complex in their structure, you cannot prove that you have a completely identical product. All you can do is to prove that you have a very similar product, and therefore we call it a biosimilar. Now, there are much larger entry barriers technologically, scientifically, and financially to develop a biosimilar compared to generics. And therefore, fewer biosimilars come to market on each molecule that loses patent protection. Typically, what we've seen is up to 5 biosimilars in the most extreme case of filgrastim coming to market after patent expiration of the originator. And prices typically go down with 30 to 40% compared to the price of the originator day before patent expiration. The biosimilar market is a very interesting field. It's the fastest growing segment in the pharmaceutical industry today, growing with 30% per year, and it is profitable. It's due to the high barriers of entry. And we believe this is a very exciting segment to be in, and exactly what we do. We are developing biosimilars. Our leading product we call Xlucane, and it's a biosimilar to the eye drug Lucentis, which sells for 30 billion Swedish crowns globally. And there are 3 things which I want you to remember from this presentation with regards to Xlucane. First thing, we are in a late stage. We're going into a pivotal phase 3 trial as we speak, and we're going to launch the product beginning of 2022. Second, the development risk is low. From where we are now up until market authorization, historically 95% of development programs had made it all the way. And number 3, we have a strong commercialization partner in the German generics and biosimilar company STADA. They're going to sell the product throughout the world, and we have a sales potential estimated for this product of 300 to 350 million euro when we reach the peak, out of which roughly a third would end up as revenues for Xbrane, so roughly 100 million euro. So it's a good commercial potential in this product for us. So my name is Martin, I'm the CEO since 2015, and prior to Xbrane, I advised pharmaceutical industry at Bain & Company. Anders Tullgren is the chairman of the board, coming from Bristol Myers Squibb. Then our strategy is pretty simple. We're going to do exactly what we did with Xlucane with our further preclinical portfolio of biosimilars. So we're going to leverage our patented high yield and low cost production technology, and then bring these products via strong commercialization partners like STADA to the market. And beyond Xlucane, we're working on biosimilars on the biological drugs Cimzia and Oncaspar, and also on the prostate cancer drug Decapeptyl. But as I said in the beginning, absolutely most important product for us now, the leading product, is Xlucane, and that constitutes the majority of the value in the company now and the value generation going forward. So I want to spend more time on this product. So this is a product used in treatment of several severe eye diseases, amongst them age-related macular degeneration. And essentially what it does is to help the patients who, when they are affected, have a vision like this. The central field is diminishing, and these products can significantly improve the vision for these patients. This is a segment in the pharmaceutical industry with total revenue of roughly 9 billion euros. So it's a big pharmaceutical segment. Lucentis is one of the drugs with sales of roughly 3 billion euro. We estimate that there are approximately 18 million individuals around the world affected by these severe eye diseases, roughly 5 million in Europe and the US. And the fact is that only 1 million is getting treatment with approved biologics, Lucentis and Eylea. A fair share is then getting treatment with the off-label drug Avastin, which is attached with several risks with regards to safety, but still it is used because it's cheaper. This is the main problem with the biological drugs. They are too expensive. Lucentis and Eylea typically cost between 5,000 to 10,000 euro per patient per year, and this is too much for many patients, and also there are restrictions with regards to reimbursements, which causes this picture. And as you can see, there are a lot of individuals out there which do not even get treatment for these diseases. And this is obviously more accentuated even in the rest of the world, where we have huge populations which do not have the financial means to get adequate treatment. Now, if we only look at Europe and the US and we look at the originator product Lucentis, we estimate that Xlucane as a biosimilar has a sales potential when we reach the peak of 300 to 350 million euro. And we base that on us, together with STADA, taking 25% market share of the biosimilar market to be created at a price reduction of 30 to 40%. And as I said in the beginning, we will have a high gross margin due to our cost-efficient production technology, and STADA will be efficient when it comes to cost in terms of sales and marketing. So we estimate margins at 60 to 70%, which we then share 50-50 with STADA. So 100 million euro of that we estimate would end up as revenues for Xbrane. Now from that, there's also a further potential upside in terms of an expanded market as more cost-efficient biosimilars come to market, something we've seen for almost all biological drugs which have lost their patent protection and faced competition from biosimilars. Taking market share from Avastin, which now is attached to these severe safety risks, this is a big opportunity for Lucentis biosimilars such as Xlucane. And then also the rest of the world, although harder to estimate how big this can be. And here I think this is about coming to the market with a product priced significantly lower. I think we're talking about 100 to 200 euro per dose, but then there are huge populations to be reached where we can really do a difference in terms of providing an affordable treatment for these individuals. So there's a good commercial upside in this product. And I think we have a great partner in STADA, and I think we have a very good deal with them, a deal which we entered last year, and STADA paid us an upfront payment of 7.5 million euro as we enter the deal, and then it's pretty simple. We share the development investments 50-50, and we share the profits 50-50. So the phase 3 trial we currently go into is to 50% financed by STADA. And STADA is a German company with over 100 years of history, sales of slightly above 2 billion euro, slightly over 10,000 employees, and really strongholds in the different European markets with market positions from 1 to 5 dependent from country to country. So they're a really strong company, and they know how to sell this kind of products. They have 2 biosimilars on the market already, and they're really building up a biosimilar portfolio. So we're now going into the phase 3 trial, the pivotal phase 3 trial. So this is very exciting, and any day now we will have the first patient in the US in this trial. And it's rather simple, the design of the trial. We're going to recruit 580 patients with age-related macular degeneration. We split them in two groups. One get treatment with our biosimilar, Xlucane, and one get treatment with the originator product, Lucentis. And 8 weeks into the treatment, we read out the primary endpoint, which is really improvement in visual acuity. So rather simple, the number of letters that the patient is able to read on the screens that you probably have seen when you go to the ophthalmology. That's the primary endpoint, really. We measure and compare the improvement in visual acuity compared to originator. Then we follow the patients during 12 months, and we follow certain secondary endpoints and also certain safety endpoints. We have 150 clinics signed up globally, based in Europe, US, and India, and a few more countries. And it's really to enable marketing authorization across the globe with this trial. And we're working together with one of the largest global CROs, Syneos Health, which have a very large recent experience in this indication area. Okay, so looking at our peers, if you will, when it comes to companies having a biosimilar of Lucentis under development. We have, of course, done ourselves with the partner STADA. We're listed at Nasdaq First North with the market cap fluctuating between 250 to 300 million Swedish crowns. We have the German company Formycon listed in Frankfurt with a market cap of 2.5 billion Swedish crowns. And then we have Samsung Bioepis, and they're not listed, it's a private company, but they also have Lucentis biosimilar in the phase 3. So what we expect here really when it comes to Europe, when the patent expires beginning of 2022, to come to market with 2 more competitors in a biosimilar context. And that is why we assume that we will capture 25% of this market. And I think this is still a very good position considering that the originator product sells for 3 billion euros. It's a big originator product. And really, apart from having the competence of developing a high-quality biosimilar, our edge into this is our patented production technology, where it has been demonstrated in several academic studies that we can get up to 12-fold the yield or the productivity in production of proteins. And this will leverage for Xlucane, of course. And this gets a direct impact on the production cost of the product, because you can consider that the cost of doing a production batch is fixed at a certain scale. And of course, the more protein we get in a certain run gets a complete impact into the cost per unit of the product. So this is really an edge which I think really will be crucial for us, particularly when we come to emerging markets where, as I said before, we need to be thinking about the biosimilar priced at a lower level. Okay, so during 2018, I think we did what we said we should do. We signed a deal with the Chinese pharmaceutical distributor regarding another product in our portfolio, Spherotide. Anders Tullgren came in as chairman of the board. We signed the important deal with STADA. We got the upfront payment. In fact, we generated during last year 12 million euro in income from different license arrangements and also limited product sales. And then we made a strategic decision to focus more strongly on the biosimilars preclinically. And then the development of Xlucane went according to plan, which led to that we are now able to go into this pivotal phase 3 trial. Looking ahead here, 2019, with regards to Xlucane, will of course be a lot about recruitment, and we will report to the market as we reach the important milestones of recruitment of this patient. We're going to report the data from this trial second quarter next year, apply for marketing authorization in Europe and the US. If everything goes according to plan, get the approval Q3 2021, and be able to launch the product together with STADA beginning of 2022. And during that time period, we will also generate value from our preclinical portfolio, take Spherotide into a phase 3 trial, tie up a European partner, and push forward our preclinical biosimilar portfolio. So to summarize, Xlucane is the key product. We are in a late stage with the product going into the phase 3 trial. There's a low risk from where we stand now up until marketing authorization. And we have a strong commercialization partner in STADA and a strong and good sales potential of 300 to 350 million euro for the product, out of which a third would end up as revenue for Xbrane. And we will, during this time period, also generate value from our preclinical portfolio and a news flow from the portfolio. And I shall mention as a final remark, we're going through preferential share issue as we speak, and the details are present on our webpage. So if you're interested in the company and want to invest in the company, now's a good moment.
Thank you very much, Martin. So, yeah, exciting times for Xbrane. It's interesting in the prognosis for peak sales and so on. You have a fairly clear plan there. What are the sources for your calculations regarding the market uptake? How do you calculate this?
It's pretty simple. We look at the history, particularly in Europe. How has it looked like in terms of uptake of biosimilars coming in, competing with different originator products? Then we calculate with a similar uptake as we've seen, and a similar price reduction versus the originator as we've seen historically. And then also we know now pretty well the competition we will face, and we assume a reasonable market share in comparison to those.
And is the pivotal phase 3 study that you're entering now, recruitment of 580 patients, you said. Is patient recruitment a challenge in this area, would you say?
Timely recruitment of patients is always a challenge in clinical trials, but this is exactly why we have decided such an aggressive strategy here of tying up 150 sites into this trial. That's quite a lot, and it's just because we want to recruit all these patients during this year. And it's also why we're working with a very experienced CRO who knows these clinics and has experience from them and know that they do what they say they shall do in terms of recruitment.
I should also open up. Anyone in the audience have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Biosimilars haven't been around for such a long time. My question is, this price reduction, can we expect that to stay the same over a longer period, say not only 5, but possibly 10, 15, 20 years, given that no new drug comes along that alters the treatment, so to speak?
Yep. I believe we will see a span of 30 to 50% reduction in general for the different products. Even what we see now in Humira, that is where it has settled, which I think is the most intense competitive field in the biosimilar space. It has settled around 50% reduction. I think in order for that to go downwards, I think we need to see a change in the regulatory requirements with kind of taking out the requirement of such a large phase 3 trial. That could potentially alter that picture because it would increase competition in a way. I think it's always tied to the number of biosimilars coming to market. But with the current structure and the current entry barriers, I think we will see these numbers of competitors coming to market and that price reduction. So something would have to change, regulatory speaking, I believe, for that picture to change.
I have a question regarding the when you do the readout, you see the results and presuming they're as you want, as you wish. Is there a correlation there between the price and the efficacy of the new product, so to speak, that can actually affect the sales, so to speak?
No. This trial is designed to prove equivalence.
Yeah.
We cannot prove superiority. We shall not be better.
Okay.
We shall be equivalent. That's the whole point, in order to be able to follow, from a regulatory perspective, the biosimilar pathway.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. Yeah. Anyone else have a question from the audience? Yeah.
You have 150 sites for this clinical trial. Are any of those in Sweden?
No.
Why?
Sweden is not a good country for recruitment purposes. We need to focus primarily on regions where there is more limited reimbursement of the originator product, which then helps from a recruitment perspective. So in Europe, we focus a lot on Eastern Europe.
What about the long-term strategy? Presuming everything goes fine and sales start and so on, what are the long-term strategy as far as Xbrane goes? Where are you in 10 years?
We're now building a very exciting portfolio of currently preclinical biosimilars. We want to advance those, and in 10 years' time, we shall obviously have a significant income generated from Xlucane, but also we shall have few of those products on the market and few years after launch, also generating income to the company. At the end of the day, what we want to build here in Sweden is a real competence hub with regards to development of biosimilars and cost-efficient biosimilars, and really having, over time, a broad portfolio to be one of the leading global biosimilar players out there. We really see that we've been lagging behind the developers in South Korea and in the US, and we really believe we can build something strong here in Sweden with the spaces.
So being snatched up by some pharma giant from the US, that's not part of the plan?
It can never be the strategy. Now, if that happens and the price is good, you know, we will not say no, but that can never be the strategy. We want to build a successful company on its own, and we really believe that we have the position that we can do that.
And your technology platform, how important part is that of this long-term strategy?
I think it is very important, because even if we speak about Xlucane, there will be markets where it will matter, where production cost will matter, because we believe we have to come at a significantly lower price point. Then we don't know how this will develop over decades, but we believe that we have a certain protection in a technology platform over a long-term perspective and over different scenarios, which could involve more price pressure. There we believe that we have a strong hedge or security with regards to our platform.
It's going to be very exciting to see how it all goes, and we have to stop here, but you are welcome to talk to everyone in the break. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.